Good evening, everyone. James Ramsden here. Welcome and thanks for joining us. We're on just a minute or two early, so just interested to know if anyone has any questions. If you do, just pop your hands up or drop a question in the question box. And Scott, you're here already, I think.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's all good. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
That's okay. Is there anyone there that we can say hello to that's logged on yet?
We've got Chris. G'day, Chris. How you going? Chris, let's see whether we can get Chris on the line. G'day, Chris. How you going?
Yeah, fantastic. I'm glad to be on the call.
Thank you for joining us tonight. That's great.
Pleasure.
Where are you calling from, Chris?
The Ultimate Veterinary Practice Program, actually.
Oh, excellent. Whereabouts do you live?
In Brisbane.
Oh, awesome. How'd you go with those storms last week? I had a few colleagues.
We live at the Gap, so we copped it last time. We fortunately missed out this time round. Okay. But yeah, they say it's going to be $1 billion worth of damage now. So.
Oh, really?
Wow,
that's big.
All right, thanks for joining us, Chris. Now, who else have we got here? We've got Keith. Keith, can you hear us? Keith is from Sydney, and maybe his audio is not working.
That's okay.
No.
Well, probably James. Even if you just get him to type in to let them know they're here, and just let them know who they are and where they're from, and then we can respond that way. And just in case some of the mics not working on some of the.
Yeah, good idea. All right, guys. There's quite a few people here now, so welcome, and let us know where you're from, and we'll respond to you. Now, if you haven't done this before, there's you can drop a little message into the question section, and we can reply to that. All right, so and there's a whole lot more people arriving now as well, which is fantastic. Now, we are recording this tonight as well, and we'll get started straight away. All right, so tonight we're really excited. I've got a special guest here tonight who I'll introduce in a moment, Scott Baker, who you've just heard speaking before. And what we're really interested in doing tonight is looking at this issue of, and if I make my screen larger so you can see it, and that's good that everyone seems to be able to hear okay, which is good. If you can't hear, just drop a note in as well. Our topic's more traffic, more phone calls, and more conversions. So what we're looking at is how an effective website works, and then tailoring that with a great training solution to actually make the whole front desk work even better. All right, so and as a little bit of housekeeping tonight, for those of you who haven't joined us, the webinar will run till 7:30. However, there's absolutely tons of material tonight. Scott and I have been putting this together over the last few days, and it's quite possible that some of you want to talk about things over that time, and we're very happy to do that. However, we will stop at 7:30 for those of you who are planned to go, and we'll just yell out when we get to that point. All right, just a bit of background about myself. I haven't met all of you, although I know most of you. Tonight, I run PetPack. I'm a veterinarian, and my special interest is in communication, helping veterinarians communicate more effectively with their clients for better pet care. And PetPack was set up primarily for that reason. So this little photo here is a bit of an indication of the sorts of things I do. I ran a national roadshow this year with AVAPM and Bayer in every capital city, and we talked about online marketing and how clinics can be more effective in the way they get new clients using their websites and help their existing clients look after their animals better. And now I'd like to introduce my special guest. What a lovely picture, Scott. Scott actually is my distant cousin. I've known him for a long time, but I've only started working with him relatively recently when a problem came up from vets during the roadshow, actually, which was about how they get their front desk staff, their front desk teams, to convert the phone calls they're generating from their websites into appointments more effectively. Scott, thanks for joining us tonight, and maybe introduce yourself to the team here tonight.
Yeah, thanks, James. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it was. We've known each other for, I think it's over 20 years now, and we've always caught up at different events. And just recently, you called me, and I was talking about different events that I was working on and different industries I was helping in terms of currently helping some people in the printing industry and just changing their things. And then you were picking my brain about stuff, and I got really excited about your conservation program that you're working on, and yeah, it seemed like a really good fit. There was a lot of harmony between what you were doing and the opportunity that you had, and I was just really excited. So we kind of got a little bit, or got very carried away and spent a lot of time talking about things, and then yeah, one thing led to another. I don't know, it was about 10 days ago, and this came about. So yeah, I'm really excited.
So Scott is a very good salesperson. He is very good at selling himself, and he runs a team of 14 people in Australia and New Zealand. So tell us a little bit about that, Scott, and also about this fishing thing.
Yeah, well, I've been doing. I sell. I got a team. It's actually 30. I got 14 and all combined between Australia and New Zealand. And I've trained over 100 people during that time. I've got a majority of the guys who've been with me between 8 to 9 years. And I've had various backgrounds from selling advertising and running an antenna business and lots of little different businesses. And the skill set in selling was something that I kind of fell into this with this particular retail role and was training people. Had really great success, turned over a huge amount, and I think it was because I'd struggled so much at selling in the beginning that I was able to teach people a lot better because I'd found it so hard in the beginning. A similar thing with the fishing. I've fished all my life, but managed to get myself into the Australian team in the. Some of you may have heard of it. There's a Hobie kayak fishing tournaments that travel around Australia and actually around the world. I travelled to China and Amsterdam a month or so ago, and I won the first world title in that a few years ago, and that really came down to just listening to what the experts were saying, and I just followed them verbatim because I knew if people listened to me in the sales world, they did better than if they didn't. And I turned up and I was the last person expected to do any good, and ended up taking it out purely because locals said do this, this, and this. I had nothing to lose, went out and did exactly that, and ended up winning, which was actually won too, which was much to my good friends who are better fishermen than me were a little bit disgusted with, but you had to be there to do it. So yeah, it was something I'm pretty passionate about, and I've been married 15 years, been with my lovely wife for 21 years this year, and I just love solving problems. So when people tell me what business they have or what they do, I get a little bit carried away and always try and figure out how I can assist them in any way I can. Sometimes I'm a bit I wouldn't say aggressive, that's not the word, too excited, but it certainly comes from a place of just wanting to help them out.
Yeah, that's great. And so thank you, Scott. And so the reason that I started talking to Scott was during the roadshows, it became clear that people were vets were becoming aware of whether or not their front desk teams were converting phone calls into appointments effectively. And I know of two clinics in Australia, clients of ours, who've actually taken the time to measure their conversion to phone call appointments and then done work to improve it and then measure that improvement. And in both cases, they've been able to improve their conversion to appointments by 100%, which makes it just a dramatic difference to their business. So I went to Scott and I said, look, what can we do about this? Because there's no, clinics were saying they couldn't find training available to actually help them do this. And so Scott said, which he'll talk more about tonight, that you can create a program that's tailored for practices. So I said, that's a great idea. And when I mentioned it to our clients, the response was overwhelming. So the last 7 days, well, we've been talking about this, has been remarkable. And to give you an idea of how remarkable it is, I've been doing online marketing for vets for about 10 years. And it's very rare for a vet or a staff member to use the word awesome when they're talking to me about what we do. And it's happened to me 3 times in the last 7 days. So 3 different people have said that's awesome, and I think that's a really strong mark that we've hit a vein, that people are really interested in for various reasons we will go through, making their front desk operations work more smoothly and for the process to be easier. Easy is actually quite an important part, or harmonious, which I think is quite an important word. All right,
Harmony
so let's get
the
into it.
key, yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
I was going to say harmony for me is the key, in that my success that I've run with my retail sales force is that I have a lot of them, and they're all around the country. They all work autonomously, and so I don't know when they start or when they finish, and I have to have a pretty good system in place. And it's not about whipping them with a whip or even having incentives. It's just about having a clear set of procedures and or not even procedures, just expectations. And this is what we do when this happens, and this is. And that doesn't mean they don't contact you, but it certainly reduces that. And yeah, so hopefully, I don't know anything about the vet industry other than what James has told me in my experience personally with my own animals. But outside of that, the part of the reason I'm here is that I don't want to make any assumptions of what you guys do. I want to get as much feedback as I can and try and maybe help you guys develop something that's got your DNA all over it and based on your particular practice, not just on a cookie cutter copying something else out of another retail environment.
Yeah, certainly the feedback I've had from our clients is that they want something that's tailored to their particular environment, which is great. All right, so let's get into it. Now, the agenda for tonight, after the introduction, which is obviously part of the agenda, there's three main things we want to cover. First of all, new knowledge about getting websites to work, and then also the benefits of an email newsletter. In terms of, I'll cover both those things, and really most of the information is around the websites for tonight. And then front desk training, Scott will go through. Do you want to go through this list, Scott, now?
Yeah, just quickly. Like with my sales team, if we're not converting sales, it's just no good. We have a rule that if you've got 10 people in front of you, you'll convert 2 no matter how bad you are, and you won't convert the other 2 no matter out of the 10. You'll get 2 that you'll always and 2 that you'll never, but it's that 6 in the middle that are the cream for you to choose from. And if you've got a good set of procedures in place and maybe even a script if that's suitable, you can help convert those calls or convert those customers into long-lasting customers based on particular procedures that you can do. So that's for calls coming in, and that's also for existing customers as well. And converting more appointments into happy lifelong customers, I kind of jumped to that. Yeah, it's important that just because they are a customer that you don't continue to impress them with just different wordings and different expressions of questions. What was that thing that you said today, James, that someone said that just destroyed the vet owner when the front end staff, what was it you said, that is all you want was a vaccination or something?
Oh, actually, there's actually 2. Yeah, so one of them was where a staff member was talking to a client on the phone, a front desk staff member, and they said, and the client was obviously ringing to book a vaccination, and the staff member's response was, is that all you want is a vaccination? And without going into the detail of the completeness of what the vet was going to do through that service, and then other opportunities as well. But the other one I had today, which I hadn't told you, Scott, was because we've been having heaps of feedback from vets talking to us about their issues, and one of them was the staff member who said, "We're busy, go and find another vet."
Okay, well that's
a pretty dramatic one, isn't it?
It's a pretty good it's not good if that's the front end staff saying it. I don't think there'd be anyone on this call that'd be happy with that comment, unless you're so busy that. And if that's the case, well, you probably wouldn't. You'd probably still want to have your staff educated on what to say in that situation. So yeah, that is challenging. And I suppose there's also that clear communication between staff. We can always make assumptions that the front end staff, like with my guys, I make assumptions that certain things are happening, and if you can have a clear communication so that there's no animosity between the front end staff and the back end staff, I'm just guessing, or the fact that someone's on the front end and there's a nurse and there's different maybe hierarchies within that group. It's really important, I think, that they're either expressed openly or that people aren't feeling that that's an issue. And then clear, precise levels of modulated ongoing assistance. So having something that is, okay, this is stage 1, this is stage 2, and this is stage 3, and then advanced stuff, so that the people can be constantly learning. It's something that adds value to their job. It adds value to your practice. So if you're wanting to sell it in the future, it's going to increase the value of your practice if you've got high quality staff with a system in place, and especially if it's measurable. If you've got something that's measurable, I've looked at buying businesses and actually currently in the process of one at the moment. And when you look at if they don't, and one of them doesn't have any systems in place whatsoever, and which I actually look at as a bonus, because there's so many opportunities that I've already seen that just don't exist. So that's really important. The appropriate buy-in training method that has staff loving the experience. So part of that is, it's all right and good and well to create a training program, but it has to be something that they want to use, something that they enjoy using, something they get feedback from, and I don't even know exactly what that is yet. I'm hoping that you guys will be able to, or I can work with some of your front-end staff to figure out what that could be. Covering the value of each client and what that converts to over the life of a customer. So if we just looked at a couple of examples there, if you were able to get a few more conversions, get a few more lifelong happy customers bragging about you to other people, and then clear communication between your staff, there's a few good things happening there. You've got the harmony between you and your staff, you've got the harmony between you and your workers, and then you've got the harmony between you and the first point of call. And it just, so many people are so busy these days, and even your front-end staff probably are as well, and even the customer or the clients coming in, sorry. If I use the wrong word, forgive me, I'm catching up, but if the client comes in and they feel, if there's a way that can be brought across to the front-end staff how vital they are to the business, how important they are to their future earnings and your future earnings, and your ability to pay the bills and their ability to have a constant job. If that can be explained and done in part of the training, I think a lot of these things are assumed by some people, and it's often left alone. So we've done the covering the value.
So can I just jump in there, Scott? Are you saying that it's important for the front desk staff to realise their significance to the business?
Oh, I totally. There's so much. This business that I'm actually another business I'm helping at the moment, a printing business. I've just been going through and chatting to the staff, and they've been there. Most of them have been there 10 years. Have no idea what gets printed. Have no idea who half their clients are. One of them's the front end person who just answers phones and hands the phone calls through, and there's people downstairs and then the people on the floor don't know what the sales process is, and I've been intertwining them all amongst each other, and they're all saying, oh, we want you to stay, you're bringing so much energy. And it's not, all I'm bringing is just that ability to communicate and systemize, and it's not a system that is built for anything else. It's just so that they can communicate clearly, effectively amongst their guys, and the buy-in and the extra, the guys are coming in earlier and finishing later only in a short period of time, not because they've been told to, but because they're excited in that process. I'd like to think it was to do with me, but I think it's really to do with Christmas at the moment. But yeah. There's been some really great feedback. So then there's having consistent communication message across all platforms, from the web, storefront, email, Facebook, on the phone. Maintaining that is critical to have a clear message. The other thing with these printers is that they have one message for the corporates, and then one message for people walking in off the street, and then another message if you're calling off the phone, and then if you go on the web it's different, and you wouldn't even know they're the same business, and they're trying to be one, and there's no clear message. So I think it's important that that means a marketing message. So I'm saying you need to have a clear communication message, so that if your front end staff are talking the same language. An example might be someone calls up and they're coming in for a checkup, and you say, look, while they're there, would you be interested in the vet speaking to you about dental care, because we've got a special on that this month? And then you're just planting the seed. You're not saying, yeah, I'd be open to that. Great. They come in and say, oh yeah, we talked to you about the dental care. Look, I'd love to have the vet just go through that with you. It's just a free assessment, and then you can make a decision based on that. Yep. So then they go in, and then the vet knows that that's what you're focusing on that week. They already know it's been discussed. And from what James has told me in relation to the added on, like they come for one reason, then you can speak to them about their dental health care. And the value is that you're not the person bringing it up when they walk in the door. It's the person at the front desk has planted the seed. They're already thinking about it. They're already wanting that. And then if you add on the extra, I'm making this up, but I'm guessing that if they've got good dental care, they've got good overall health, their heart health's better, and you sell that to a person who loves their pet, you're doing the right thing by the pet. You're doing the right thing by the client, and you're doing the right thing by your practice, because you're making it the ability for you to buy more equipment or to treat more animals on a regular basis that aren't coming in from that lack of they haven't treated their animal in the right way. They thought they did know, but now you've helped them educate them on that. So I kind of waffled on a bit there, James. Sorry, but
no, that's good. I was going to ask you about that. What about language? You used a couple of words in
Yes.
there, like special on dental, which probably a lot of staff members or clinics wouldn't feel like maybe uncomfortable about it, and we don't know until we start talking to clinics. But how do you modulate language or find the right language for a team to use that suits their culture?
Yeah, that's spot on. Like, forgive me everyone if I'm saying things that make your hair stand on end, or it doesn't seem to make not the right fit. And that's part of what I'm here for, is not to thrust upon you. Like, I'm giving you analogies from what I see as an interpretation of what you guys do, but sitting down and figuring out what it is, the language that you want used, and focusing on open-ended questions, not is this all you want, or is there you only want a vaccination or anything. It's like there's certain little sentences that can be very invaluable, not necessarily on the first visit or the second visit, but if they're getting that continuity and that openness and that caringness from the person, and it's certainly not even a sales pitch. It's more of it's got to be a genuine, I'm interested in the well-being of your pet. I'm interested in educating you on the benefits of educating you and your pet and because as a vet, there's two ways you could look at it, and being outside the industry, forgive me for saying this, but you might go, okay, well, if you look after the pet, there's less reasons for them to go to the vet. But if you're looking after the pet and they're using your products, then you're benefiting if they do, and if they don't, they'll come back to you. But hopefully if they're looking after not your pet, if they're looking after their pet based on your recommendation, you're going to have a very grateful client and a very happy animal.
Absolutely, and I think, just for your info, Scott, there's a really strong understanding in most vets that we need to move to a more proactive stance on healthcare, which is about preventing issues. And there is, if you look at your population of your clients in your practice, if you can raise the bar on prevention issues, there's more revenue in that than there is in just reacting to problems when the animal gets really sick. And of course, as you've touched on, most people in our profession are in it because they're in it for the welfare of animals. And once that's clear, then the staff members can recommend with wholeheartedly good healthcare practices. It's just a matter of getting them into the position of being able to recommend effectively to the pet owner so that the message gets across clearly.
Yeah, and that's something that you'd want to test and measure on an ongoing basis until you actually got the right formula, because there's certain staff that wouldn't like to use a certain language. Like, I've got guys who sell, some are really good at using a particular language, and if I suggest that using different words, they'll never go near it. And then others who will only use it another way, and they do well. So yeah, there has to be options, and it has to be tailored to suit sometimes individual person's ability. If they think they're selling a lot of the time, they won't. But if they're educating, a lot of people love to teach. So it's a different mindset as well.
Yeah. So now, one thing, being a the timekeeper for tonight, I'm conscious it's 20 past 7 already, and we're just getting stuck into it. So I think we continue. If people, as we get up to the 7:30 mark, if you want to leave and you need to leave, totally.
Well, what about a quick? If it's 7:30, we just get a quick. If there's any questions and answers to people who need to go, and then if anyone wants to stay, I'm more than happy to stay on for as long as the questions keep coming, and go from there. And
by the way, guys, drop in as Scott's talking. If you want to have a chat to Scott directly, or you have any questions, please drop them in the question box there, and we'll answer them as we go through. All right, so let's get on to the next page. So what we want to talk about, this whole conversation started when I was talking to clinics about how to improve the operation of their websites. And what I want to talk to you today is the most recent understanding of the operation of websites, because your website can become a really powerful business generator, and by that I mean it generates phone calls, and a percentage of those phone calls are going to be prospective new clients. So this is where the calls come from in the first place. And I'm not going to dwell in the technical details, but the key things we want to cover tonight, or you need to be aware of, are the most important part of getting people to come to your website in the first place is being found on local search, which is search for terms which relate to your location. And most of you do really well for a search for the location where your practice is situated. However, you do poorly for the surrounding search areas, surrounding suburbs, which are where you draw a lot of your clients from. So there's an opportunity there. The second thing is Google Maps. This is a free service provided by Google, which you all would be aware of, but you may not be aware of the power of it. That can contribute to your website, if it's set up correctly, 100 calls a month. And that's testing and research that we've done at PetPack. That information, as far as we're aware, that testing hasn't been done anywhere else because it's quite difficult to do. And then the third thing is mobile search, so that anyone got any idea here tonight what percentage of your clients or prospective clients are looking for you on their phones or on their tablets? Anyone want to just have a stab while we're talking about this, and we'll see if anyone gets close to it. And if we have a look now at the next bit is, once people come to your website, the ability of that website to generate an interest in them to call you, and then whether or not you can measure that. So let's have a quick look at a couple of, just give you an example, a couple of top performers. These are, now on your screen, you should be able to see a website that's come up, and I'll just check those. All right, someone's put an answer in. 87% of people are coming from mobiles or tablets. Well, that's actually on the high end. I think if you said that you're getting 50%, you'd be doing about right. And I have no doubt it'll be 87% in a short time. Thank you for that, Nikki. This is an example of a high-performance website, and I'll bring up another one as well. These are websites that we produce. They're our top-performing websites. And the key thing that you want to be aware of is once you set it up correctly to be found locally and for other key search terms, once the person comes to the website, there has to be a strong reason for them to actually call. And we've invested heavily with copywriting to get text on these websites, which we test and measure to improve the performance of the website to generate a phone call. Because believe it or not, what you write on the front of your website will influence whether or not someone calls you. And these websites generate double the phone calls of your current websites, minimum, in some cases up to 4 times the phone calls. And the reason we know that is because we tested it. We have 4 practices across Australia where we test changes to their website and measure it. And you can see over this phone call here, there's a tracking system here which records the phone calls that are coming off this website. So, basically, if we the message with regards to your website is you can actually get your website to be a core business generator, and that's the first step, is getting those phone calls coming in. This scribble here I've got here, I've actually used this drawing in the roadshow, and so it was actually evolved through that process. But the key message I want to give you here is that if you look over here, we've got word of mouth, WOM, word of mouth and drive-by. They used to be the #1 ways that people would come to your practice, and they still are. It's really important to remember that. The big difference today is that both a person driving past the clinic who sees you and thinks, I'm going to give them a call, and then the person who hears about you and says, I'm going to give them a call, when they come to do that, they go to the web, and it might be 87%, but if at least 50% of those people have been looking for you on their phone. So a good exercise tonight is to look on your phone for how you appear and see what it looks like, because in a lot of cases you'll be shocked at how hard it is to find you. And I'm not going to dwell on that anymore, but once they come to the website, they then ring you, and what you want to do is you want to get as many of those people calling you as possible. All right, so once those phone calls come in to the clinic, this is where vets started saying, okay, well, it's great to get twice the calls, James, but what happens at our front desk? Is our front desk effective at turning those phone calls into appointments? Scott, do you want to make some comments on this slide?
Yeah, I think, I hope you don't mind me saying this, James. When I was looking through your presentation, and I went, so you do all this great work, you do all this fantastic stuff, you get all these extra calls with the practice, but what happens then? What about the converting them? That's the money shot. And you went, oh yeah, and then I think it evolved from that particular observation. So I'm just getting really conscious now because it's 29 minutes past 7.
Mm.
Do we want to see if there's people who need to leave, or if the people want to stay, or because we did say it was only been 30 minutes and we got a little bit carried away with me probably talking a little bit too much because I was a bit excited.
No, I think it's good. I've had no one say shut up, which is good. And people, please feel free to go if you'd like, and we will be recording this and we'll send you the copy of it. And I think we continue, Scott, if you're happy to keep doing that.
And look, if you do need to go now, and you like what you've heard, try and listen to it sooner rather than later, and I mean probably in the next before 5 o'clock tomorrow. If you do have to go now, just that'll make sense tomorrow when you're listening to it. So getting people to call the practice, is one thing, but then it's converting that particular call into either an appointment or whatever it is that they're calling about. Is to if they're not making an appointment, they're just ringing up just to get their to get the vibe. You want them to leave when they hang up to have that really good feeling and know that you're the one that they want to call back. But getting the call converted to an appointment is the priority. Getting the customer to become a lifelong client, which we were talking about earlier. Having an organised system to train existing and new staff that increases harmony in your practice. And that's like a lot of the times, even in my business, the certain areas where I'd take less money to have more harmony between certain suppliers and bits and pieces, just to have that would be worth its weight in gold. And working towards that when it's within your control of things that you can do within your actual practice, that is something to look at. Most importantly, remove the feelings associated with less than perfect customer care. So offering that fantastic care. I've always found that when I've gone to a vet's practice, I'd say nearly all the time I go, it's good, but sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's quite average. And I think it's having that consistency of whether the person's having a good day or a bad day, that a level of consistency and offering above like really high standards. And then what I suppose that we heard too is that people are wanting a complete toolbox, nuts and bolts, solution orientated towards tailoring it to solve all the possible scenarios that come your way. Now, we're not going to be able to cover every single scenario, but having the vast majority of them covered and tailored to your particular practice is something that would be important. So basically, how I looked at it is the solution is having a harmonised training approach that allows you to stand back while a third party engages with your team to achieve your goals. So sometimes if I'm teaching my guys, as you know, they don't listen to anything that I say, but I'm an expert in other areas, and people go, oh, wow, Scott, you know what you're talking about. And then you go back to your own group and they're like, oh, it's only Scott. So, and you probably have the same problem. You're trying to teach them stuff and it's like, oh, what do you know, Chris? You just keep, you're a vet, you're not a customer service person. And so it allows you to take a step back. If you're in the practice, you can monitor them, you can engage them, you can assist them, you can help them. You can be the good cop, I can be the bad cop, or hopefully I'm the good cop as well, but I can be the person that is helping them, assisting them, and you, in the training methodology, I mean, and you can be the person who has that, you can be involved with them, or you can be watching how it makes an impact on your practice, and therefore you're part of the solution, but it's you're creating the solution, and also being inside it without having to, because someone said something to you, James, today, that they were scared of actually doing the training because the people, one, didn't want to listen to them the same as me, and two, they felt like if they had to tell them something, they had to be harsh, or I can't remember the exact wording. But
yeah, they felt like they knew they were going to be the bad guy, and they felt like they were telling them off the whole time, and they didn't want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Cool.
So I'm going to move to the next slide. So
and also,
you go.
It's Thursday. I'm not sure if there's anyone here from WA or whatever, but it's Thursday, the 4th of December at 7:35. I'm sure there's probably people South Australia and other bits and pieces in there. And the point of tonight is to get to let you know where we're headed, and have some great opportunities at the end that if you're interested in them, that are really quite exciting. So, sorry, James.
So that's good. You go. You talk to this slide too.
Oh yeah. So converting calls to new clients. The success of your practice, like pretty much a lot of businesses, is only determined upon how often the phone rings. Now we get contact via email, we get contact via Facebook and things like that, and some people probably have the ability to book themselves online, but if your phone's not ringing, then it's really hard to probably survive unless you have those people constantly coming through the doors. Now, if your phone's ringing, that's one thing, and if you're getting 30, 40 phone calls a day and 10 of them are new customers, and you're losing 30% of them, or 40 or 50, whatever the percentage is, if you could just get one extra a day or one extra a week, the lifetime value of that client by you just having that system in place, from what I've seen and what I do in other industries, the value of getting that right is a huge spin-off for you guys, and I just think it's a great opportunity. And if you're already doing it, good on you. But if you are looking for a solution, having that sorted is important, and we can help you there with the website that we've just been talking about, and also the training.
Let's jump in there, Scott. I think it's worth. I might have mentioned it before, but there's two cases I know of. I did mention it before. I'll say it again. There's two cases I know of, and it shows you how rare it is, where clinics have actually measured their conversion to appointment from phone call to start with, and then done something about it, and in both cases increased it by 100% or more. And
wow,
and that's just remarkable, because those calls were coming in and they were missing out on that business.
And you said something too the other day, James, which was interesting, because then I've got the next part of the slide. It says, but then how those calls are handled will determine the ongoing success of your practice. There's a couple of things you could look at here. Is if you systemize it in a way, and if you're in the business of being a vet owner and you want to have multiple vets practices, this is what we're going to talk about is going to be ideal for you. If you're looking at selling your business in the next 2 to 5 to 10 years, what we're about to talk to you is going to be perfect for you, because it's going to be measured. It's going to be everything that someone who's looking to buy a business is going to want to look at, and you're going to have measuring processes along the way. It's going to increase the value of your practice because you're getting more conversions and you're running a systemized approach. And if it's duplicatable there, you can just start running other practices if that's what you so desire. Or if you just want to run a high quality practice with only specific types of customers coming in, if you've got such a good practice in place and you've got the good systems in place, then you can almost, within some spaces, only be a specialist vet practice that only deals with a particular type of, it could be large animal, small animal, or a combination of the two, or just specialising in a particular size of dog between, and I'm making this up, but between a medium-sized dog and a small-sized dog. I don't know if that's even possible, but
there are some practices that do that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that, but I think if you can think of it as there's many ways that this can help. And the other thing that I think is most beneficial is the peace of mind that you will have. Like the reason I'm helping this picture out is that I'd have all these ideas to do stuff for my retail business, and they'd come along and say, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. And I'm like, yeah, cool, okay. And they'd tell me how much it was, and I'd be like, done, book me in. And we're talking a lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars for these particular jobs. And they go, where's your artwork? And I go, I don't have any artwork. And they go, well, you need to get artwork. And I go, can't you do that? And they go, no, sorry, we're not a graphic designer. And I'm like, I'll pay you to do it. Oh, we don't do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not sure where I'm going there, is that there's an opportunity. I've lost my train of thought. There was something to do with the ongoing success of your practice, but there was a gap. That's right, in the printers. So I've gone and helped them out and said, look, this is what you need to do. And all of a sudden, they've had an increase in jobs by a significant amount in a very short period of time by offering a complete service package to all their clients that they didn't before, and outsourcing stuff they don't know what to do, the things they can't do themselves, but offering a solution to the person. And if you're giving a solution you've got a solution for that's what I was getting to, the training. If the training's getting done by someone else and it's working for you, and the training is a modulated system that the guys can be kept track on, you can be at arm's length, you can see it working, you can focus on what it is you're specialising in, and that's the back end side of things, and the dealing with the animals' welfare. So you've got the other stuff all sorted, so it's less headaches for you. You've got more harmony with yourself and with your practice. Again, I kept bringing up the word harmony, but it's a popular word in my vocabulary at the moment. Sorry, James, I went on a bit there.
But certainly I think that's the feedback from a lot of the vets is that, anyone might want to chime in, is that the real benefit to getting, say, the front desk, which we were focusing on tonight, working well, is to remove the headache. Or you know,
that's what I was trying to say, but I yabbered too much.
No, you're right. I'm supporting that. I think that you know, a typical scenario would be a vet says, you know, I go to the effort of training, and I do it myself, and it's hard work, and then, you know, 6 months later, I've got to do a late call or something, and this was a particular case where I've got to go to a house call at night or something, and the person at the front desk didn't realise I wasn't trained, or forgot that they had to put the address in, and so I don't know where the place is. Just a really simple thing, but it's something which, you know, when you're tired and you've been working hard, it's just the sort of thing that's just driving you mad. So, you know, mundane as it might sound, putting the systems in place and helping people to be effective with those systems is paramount for an effective or an enjoyable practice. All right, so let's have a look at where we are now. And look, this slide really is just supporting that. Actually, I want to, you know, it used to be I have front end staff because I need them, and that's a lot of practices started that way. When I was in practice, it started that way. We needed someone on the front desk, but you know, increasingly as you become more established and busier, you want the front desk or the front end that's actually working and hassle free. So, you know, I mentioned
and delivering results too, like as in
yes,
it's important,
immeasurable. Yeah.
Yep.
And just to recap, VetLab, which is PetPak's testing regime, is about generating more traffic, converting that traffic on websites to phone calls, tracking those phone calls, and now when we're talking to Scott, is about getting the front end staff to be effective at actually converting that into business in a measurable way. And I've shown you some examples already, so I won't go and have a look at those anymore. If we look at the benefits of the websites that come out of VetLab, we've covered most of this. Highest volume of measured calls of any vet clinic website, and the lowest cost of call generation. So they're generating more phone calls and they're doing it at a lower cost than any other website out there. Other things which are important to clinics, content updates are easy, and then access to ongoing improvements that come out of more VetLab testing. So, for instance, we've just tested new Contact Us pages. And then now that we're doing training, front-end staff training that solves your communication needs effortlessly. So if you look at the results just at the VetLab tested website, you'll generate at least double, sometimes up to 4 times the phone calls you're currently getting from your website, but that translates at double to 18 more new clients a month. And my little asterisk there is to say that this is based on a standard vet clinic, which I've written down the bottom. So basically, if you're talking about the standard vet clinic website scenario and you upgrade to one of our websites, you'll get 18 more new clients a month. And you're welcome to talk to any of our clients that use the websites. In fact, I think we have one here tonight. Mike, thank you, from WA. And part of the process, you get a monthly report which tells you what the website's doing. So in terms of what that means for you, you know what 18 more new clients a month does for you. But if that person's spending $300 a year, then you've got $5,400 of annual revenue generated in that month. And that happens every month, which translates to down here on an annual basis about $65,000 of additional revenue every 12 months. And of course, if they're with you for 10 years, it's worth a lot more. So it's a profitable service from day one, and a way that gives you access to measurable results as well. Now, this is with regards to the training. Do you want to add anything about the training here, Scott?
No, I think everyone should just be maybe stand up if you're sitting down and shake your arms around and just a little bit of, because we've been,
Good idea.
we have been going a bit long, and I'm trying to change my tone a little bit so it's not just this bland speaking, but I'll quickly go through this just so that it has an idea. So now that you can get more phone calls, how would you like to convert more of them into appointments? We've covered that. So we've got organising training approach, measuring the results. It may be possible to double your appointments, so extra dollars, extra clients each month. Working with me, leading in sales. Yep, all that's it's interesting when someone else writes it. It's true, but it's just yep, that's all there. In addition to your website purchase, you'll get me working on your front desk sales program for your clinic. So these are the two conditions that to work with you is what I would ask, is that you help us by providing you on the feedback on how your front desk sales program is working. Due to the time and effort for myself, I'll devote each practice. There's only a limited amount of clinics we'll be able to work with. So if you'd like to be part of this, let us know, certainly tonight. So once the spots are gone, we won't be able to provide any additional places. So, and it's not just about having a skilled sales professional like me helping you. You can tell I haven't written this because you've written this, or I can't remember, but it's weird when you're reading about yourself. Sorry, everybody. It's about working with me to create a program that will directly and positively impact the welfare of the animals in your care and increase your ability to care for more. So
I think we did this together, but I did most of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just because I'm saying my name seems like I'm talking about the third person. This unique opportunity is worth tens of thousands of dollars and something that will improve the way you treat phone calls and walk-in clients forever, and it'll be one-on-one. The take-up on this has been successful, and have a few spots remaining. So if you want to be a part of this opportunity for 2015, then you need to let James know, certainly before the end of tonight. And it's only the offer that we're about to go into will only be available until the end of the webinar. So
correct. And if you do want to email me, you can do it straight off the emails that you received for the webinar. That will come to me. All right, so now I'll go to the next slide, Scott.
Yeah. So what part of this will be is that, and when I say time convenient to me, is that I'll work in conjunction to work with you. Obviously, if it's so that we can work together, there's certain time periods and frames that I've other commitments, but if we can work autonomously at a right time. So I'd need a comprehensive questionnaire answered, obviously as truthfully and as clearly as you can, so I can have an understanding of the current situation. Once I've had that, I'll review that, contact you via phone or Skype to discuss. You'll get a 30 minutes minimum initial consultation one-on-one with me, where I'll drill down on what it is you're trying to achieve at your practice and why, because the why is more important sometimes to me than because that'll give me a better idea if you want it systemized for a particular reason, if you're wanting to sell it, if you're wanting to increase volume, or if you just want harmony. There'll be different ways I'll look at doing it. Based on that, I'll put together a tailored procedure for your practice, so it'll be just for you. And from there, I'll work with you on a week-to-week basis, getting feedback from you and your staff, testing and measuring the entire time. And if it's not me at certain times getting in contact with you, it'll be someone from Pet Pack. But a majority of the time it'll be me, because I won't want to be getting the information secondhand. I'll be wanting to ask specific questions and look for specific answers, which James has learnt recently. You can do things what you think are very similar to what you say, but there's just some small adjustments. Webinar training that will be done in small groups and enable you to ask multiple questions, and we'll do this a minimum of 4 times over for up to 12 weeks. In order to take advantage of this, we've got to sign up tonight on one of the offers that we're going to show you. And Scott will end the period of sales training process that starts at, so I'll end it. It'll start at the front desk and work its way to the back, which includes relevant tailored solutions for your practice. My goal would be to create something that would be online for you, something that is a YouTube-based thing with modules, and also a testing platform, so that you can make sure your guys are at certain levels, and you would make sure that that's matching what you want to have. Once we've developed that particular program, that will then be available to, we will be on selling that style or that particular ideas across a broader platform. So we're going to work with you to create one tailored for you, and we believe that if it works for you, it'll probably work for others. But in order to work with you, we're going to offer you some significant, this one-on-one service with me, rather than me just trying to make something up and not being suitable for other people. And maybe go to the next slide, James.
Coming up. There we go.
Okay, so did you want to go through the pricing, or?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, you just jump in. Okay, so what we're offering tonight is the opportunity for you to buy one of our websites, and as part of that, get the training module at a certain rate. So this is the first time that most of you have seen the pricing on the websites, and it's worth noting that we've got three sections here. You've got website A, website B, and website C. Now I'll start with website A. Now website A is the price for our high performance websites. That has always been the price, and which is $4,950 set up and $350 a month to run, and that's to generate the 18 new clients a month. So it's terrific value, and the training module, which we will develop, is $1,200 to sign up and $450 a month to run it. Now, we had some really constructive feedback from clients that they thought that thought the setup fees were a hurdle, and we thought, well, we can respond to that, and we readjusted our pricing, and so we've done this for the end of the year. And you can see that if you look at the website B, which is our webinar special, which is only going to be available tonight, website B is where you pay half the setup fee, and the monthly fee is $400 a month. And as part of that, you commit to using the website for 12 months. And the training module, if you buy the website B, you get the training module for $100 sign up and $100 a month. And then the next option is website C, which is also the website's webinar special, and will only be available tonight, is where you get the website for half again, which is $1,275 setup, and $450 a month, and you commit to using it for 2 years. Now, it's worth noting that our average client's been with us for 5 years, and so we're confident you will find that the websites work well for you. However, if there's any problems over that time, we'll work extremely hard to get it to work and to rectify the problem. I mean, that hasn't been the case so far, but that's certainly our commitment to you. And with website C, the training module, if you buy website C, you get the training module for no setup fee and $150 a month. And
just to step in there,
go for it.
I was just going to say, yeah, everything that I've talked about in that training there is to work with you guys. So we're reducing the cost of the training fee monthly because we want to work with you and develop it to suit your needs. Now, it may take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, but you're getting it at a massively reduced price, and you're helping us build it, or we're helping you build what it is that's suitable for you. So we're dropping the price dramatically to assist you in getting into to building it. If it's something that you want, we'll be able to develop it and work together, and it's a way of us testing before we spend all this time building a training module that might not be even suitable to your particular industry or your particular needs. So, and then at the end of that period of time, once we've developed it, we would then, the retail price on that would be the $1,200 sign up and the $450 a month for ongoing, and your price won't go up. So if you sign up, and I haven't checked with James with that, but I'm pretty sure that their price for that ongoing would be $150 a month for that training module for the life that they're a PetPack customer, and that would stay at that price only for tonight. So they're really you're getting a pretty good combination there to work, cover both aspects of your communication and have someone to work with you to develop it specifically for your needs.
Absolutely, and the website B and C options have been extremely popular, and we haven't had the training module available to date. So I think it's a terrific option. Anything else about this slide, Scott?
No, just that it ends tonight. So, and there's only I'm not going to say how many spots are left, but there's not, once we've got the certain amount of people we need. So we're looking for large animal vets, we're looking for small animal, and we're looking for combinations of the two, and we're looking for a diverse areas. Ideally, now if everyone said that they were from WA and there was all just large animals, I'd still work with them if they were. But what would be ideal would be having a cross section of that, so that we're getting as many of those covered as we can. And you could be a part of, again, putting your DNA and all your fingerprints over a training module system that you've got at a really great value, and having me help you. And look, part of the reasons I'm doing this is my dog of 15 years is I have to I don't want actually I won't talk. She's very old and has to be euthanized very soon, and I've been going through that process, and it's amazing how much you love your animals and how valuable a vet comes in when those things are happening, and it's all kind of all happened together. So I'm really excited about this. I love what James has been doing with his other stuff, and I've actually got another mate I've known for 10 or 15 years that's helped James dramatically with some of his online stuff, who's a guru in the online world, and there's a real good synergy there. So I'd love to work with the people who want to make a difference for 2015 and beyond, and I'd really look forward to working with those guys in that space.
Thank you, Scott. So if you would like to take that up, please email me directly, and that offer will be available to the end of tonight. All right.
What was the next slide?
Here we go. So I suppose the question really for you guys, if you're interested, is whether you prefer option B or C. You can email me directly, and you can use that code word, webinar gold, which will make sure we get that email directly. All right. Anything else on there, Scott?
I was just going to say, I'd say that if there's any questions for people, please bring them. I can't see any questions on my screen at the moment. If there's any questions on what we can offer and how we can help, please put them up.
We've just had a couple of questions which I've answered, and that was from Nikki, and there's no more questions now. So any other questions, guys? No? Okay. Now we're all good. All right, guys. So cool. Thank you very much for joining us, and it's been terrific. And let us know if you'd like to go ahead. We'd be really very excited to work with you. If you have any other questions, I'll be around tomorrow, and you can get me directly on that email address.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and I hope if you have any questions, go to James, or and if you're not too sure, even with James, even have James, you can give him my number, and I'm more than happy to have a chat to them as well.
Great. All right. Thank you, Scott, for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on.
Nice.
It's been fantastic. And